Well, I feel like an idiot. I've been going all this time and I didn't realize that I wasn't live. I'm sorry, guys. My fault. I've been a while since I've done this. Um, all right, let's try that again. Oh man, boy, do I feel like an idiot. I feel like a complete moron. Anyway, got a Ryzen 2200G system here that I'm going to be updating the BIOS on. In fact, I'm in the middle of trying to get the BIOS updated, and I'm trying to figure out whether or not the system is hung or not. So I'm sorry about that, guys. I've been talking and talking and not realizing that I wasn't live. So my apologies. Let's see here. There we go. Let me pull this up here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm terribly sorry. But we're in the middle of flashing the BIOS here. I'm going to be replacing the 2200G with a 5600G. I did not realize that I was not live. My fault. So anyway, I'm in the middle of doing this. While that's going on, I want to show you a couple of things real quick. And what I'm hoping to do is to improve the performance of this machine, at least for some light gaming. So that's what I'm hoping to do. Let's try that again. And while we're waiting for that, I tried running some tests in Fortnite on this thing, and initially it defaults to DirectX 11, and with DirectX 11, the frame rate was just abysmal. I mean, I'll show you this here in a second. This is what the frame rate looks like on a 2200G. Trying to play Fortnite with DirectX 11, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So I had to stop that and go back and put it in performance mode. And once I put it in performance mode, it was definitely better. At least I was able to get some reasonable frame rate out of it. So that's the one thing that I've got going on. And let's see. Okay, it looks like it's done. All right, so let me get in here and open this up. Programming successful. Press enter. Now here's going to be the issue. This system may or may not post after this BIOS update. You've only got so much room in a BIOS, and if you keep adding CPUs to the BIOS, you got to start dropping off some stuff. So what we're going to find out here real quick is whether or not this is actually working. So I'm going to hit enter for this. We're going to see if it comes up. And while we're waiting for that, I'm going to go put this over in the corner here. I am going to, oops, wrong one. Hang on a minute, guys. Let's see what it's doing. Well, it did post, so I guess that's something. It actually did. It looks like it's posting. Yeah, it looks like it's actually posting. Okay, so it did post. So that part's good. All right, so that's fine. Now, the other thing I want to check and see is, all righty, just real quick here, let's take a look at let's see what I want to look at. I want to look at, well, first I want to look at the system. Nothing should have changed as far as that's concerned. Oh, no, wrong one. Helps if I get the right one. You can tell I haven't done this in a while, can you? It's just, I'm just a mess. Anyway, yeah, it's still a 2200G, everything. So it booted. Everything was fine. All right, so with that out of the way, I'm going to shut this thing down. And the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to take that off the screen. All right, so now this thing is shut down. So I'm going to pull out the flash drive and pull out the cabling that's on here for the moment. And let's get this sucker taken apart. I want to take off both panels in this case because there is some difficulty getting the Ryzen CPUs out, as I'm sure you probably are familiar with. Every once in a while, you try to remove the cooler, the CPU comes with it, pulls it right out of the socket, and I think I know a way to at least somewhat avoid that. So let's get all of this out of the way. Turn this around. And let's get the overhead camera working. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so let's get this little sucker out of here. All right. If you guys have questions, I would suggest that start asking them. I will look up a chat here in a minute to see if there's anything going on there. Now, once I get all these screws out, that back plate is going to drop down. Once it drops down, this will actually be easier. If you leave, sometimes depending on the depth that's behind the motherboard, if you leave the panel on, it will, come on, adjust. Okay. It will not drop down enough that you can get these posts to clear, because what we're going to do is we're going to be twisting this, get this out. So I'm waiting to hear that back plate drop down as I unscrew this stuff. I think the back plate is let's take a look. Nope, something's still holding it on. I can feel it. There it goes. I heard the sound. All right, so let's pull this out here. And we're just going to go a little back and forth. Oh, this came out not too badly. We're just going to back and forth. There we go. So, no problem. Everything's fine. Let me get into adjustments here. Okay. All right, so here's our 2200G. Right now, I'm just going to lift it out and pull it up. And we'll set that to the side. And there's our Ryzen 5600G in there. I will be using the cooler that's in the box. I'm not going to use any third-party cooler on this. All right. So we'll take this and make sure that we've got it the right way. There it goes. So that's in the right way. Still managed to get thermal paste on my fingers. Taking the old one off, I still managed to do it. All right. So let's get this guy off of here. Got our thermal paste here. Now to get this back on, put that like that. And we're going to go like this. There we go. See if I can catch this with just... Got it? Yes, I got it. Okay. So... opposite corners, obviously. Get this in. And these will come to a stop eventually. Don't try to go much past the stop. That one feels like it might have stopped. That one definitely stopped. Okay. So, yeah, once they stop, that's pretty much it. You can try to snug them a little bit, but they're pretty much there. You don't want to do anything more than that. All right, so now that that's taken care of, I'm going to route this right under here, like the previous one was. There we go, just like that. Make sure I've got the right one. CPU fans on the outside. There we go. Come on, get on there. There we go. Tuck that back in there again. There we go. So we're all set. All right, now that that's taken care of, let's take this off of here, go back to here, get the camera out of the way. All right, let's get all our cables plugged back in. HDMI. Power. Network just in case. There we go. All right. So that's there. Everything's sort of in. Let's go. Those guys to one side. Let's bring up there we go. Let's bring that up. And let's power on. Power on. Let's get into the BIOS, hopefully, without too much trouble. It may take a little bit for it to get there. So it's probably retraining. It's going to take a little bit for it to get its act together. And it's taking its sweet time doing whatever it's doing. Give me a minute, guys. Oh, there it goes. There it is. All right, we're good to go. All right. So it looks like we're there. All right, real quickly, I want to just restart the system and just verify that everything's okay. Yeah, obviously the graphics are all screwed up because it's basically detecting a GPU. So let's go into here and change this around. Display settings, 150. I don't think so, guys. There we go. Everybody's happy. All right, so let's go in and just do a restart and see where we're at. Oh, I guess I didn't quite get it. I'll have to try it again. That was interesting. All right, let's try that again, I guess. Huh, that was a little strange. I thought I got it in time. Maybe I didn't. Alrighty. Let's try that again. Battery could be dying on the keyboard. That's entirely possible too. But let's try that one more time. There it goes. All right, so Ryzen 5600G, graphics are good. Everything's fine. Alrighty, now the only question is that once we get out of here and get the system restarted, what I'm curious about is whether or not it's going to still give me problems when I go to check in Windows Update. It will tell me whether or not the machine is still viable for or if it's viable at all for Windows 11. And I think I'm going to run into a couple of issues, but we're going to find that out here real quick. So let's go into Windows Update and let's see what it tells me. Now, when I went in here before, it said that it obviously wasn't ready for Windows 11 because the CPU is not started. So let's go into here. Yeah, see, it still says this. So that tells me that there's a couple other things that I still have to do. It doesn't have anything to do with the structure of the drive, because if I go into disk management, you'll see that if we go here and hit properties, you'll see that the volume says that it's GPT. So that's not the issue. My guess is what the actual issue is that Secure Boot is still not enabled in this BIOS. So let's go back again into the BIOS and double check it. I'm guessing that's what the issue is. So let's go take a look. No, I still can't quite catch it. That's interesting. I'm having difficulty catching it at the right time. That's really interesting. All right, let's try that one more time. There it goes. Now we're in there. All right. My guess is this is where our problem is. Let's see. Boot manager, that's there. This should be turned off. Well, this is not. This is still on. So I probably want to disable that. That's the first thing I want to do. And I think here in security, let's take a look and see. Secure boot, here we go. Secure boot's disabled. So let's enable it. Okay, secure boot. Hold on. Standard. Yes. Now I can go into here and hit enable. You're still not giving me a choice, are you? Okay. All right, so it wants to be difficult. Let's see. When the CMS is loaded. Okay, well I thought I turned that off. Hold on. Try that again. So now it's disabled. It's fine. So why is it giving me a hard time? Okay, well, let's try rebooting it. Let's try F10 and let's see if I can go back in and it'll let me do it. Okay, let's go back in. Let's go back into security. Let's go back into secure boot. There it goes. Now it's enabled. All right, there we go. So I had to turn off the CSM, save it to the BIOS, restart, and then turn on the secure boot. So something you might run into. So let's go here and go here. Now, this should not prevent the system from booting. It should come back up, but we're going to find out here in a minute. It's either going to boot from the drive or it's going to go right back into the BIOS. It's going to do one of the two. There it goes. Okay, so we're good. All right, so going back into here, let's see what it says now. Let's go into here, and let's go into here. And it still says it doesn't. Well, let's do the check, because it may not. Let's go into here and see. Okay, there's our application. Let's see what it says. No, I don't care about that. Oh, TPM2. I forgot. See, I forgot to turn something on. There we go. So we'll go back in and we're going to restart this thing. And I got to go back in and turn the TPM on because it's not on by default. Interesting. Most of the BIOSes these days have it set by default. So that's interesting. Okay. So again, these are the little caveats you got to pay attention to if you're updating things. So let's go in and let's get that turned on. Okay, let's see. Where would they be hiding that? That's the question. Trusted computing, probably. No, it says no secure. That's interesting. Security bot. What is that all about? Okay, so it doesn't seem to be there. That's weird. All right, guys. Anybody want to help me out with this guy? Let's see. It should be there. That's weird. It's not in there, that's for sure. It's definitely not in there. It's not there. Let's try back on the security tab, maybe? No. It's all there. That's not the issue. It should be in. Now, let me go take a look at chat and let's see. AMD CBS, I think I was just in there. Yeah, I could try resetting to default settings. That's possible. Yeah, I could try that. Actually wasn't expecting to have that kind of trouble. So that's interesting. Let's go back to main. Let's go. It's not the OC tweaker. It should be in here. The CVS is not. CPU common options. No, it's not there. So I don't think it's there. Definitely not there. It should be in here. What happens if I enable this? No, that's probably not going to be it. Interesting. There should be something. Okay, well, let's try. Let's go back. Not that. Ah, there it is. There it is. The FTPM switch. That's it right there. That's the guy. There it is. Okay. F10. It changes. We'll go back and we'll take a look at it. That's it. Boy, that was kind of obscure where they hid that one. Wow. Okay. But hey, I found it. That's what counts, I guess. All right, let's see what happens now. All right, so we're back here. Let's go this way real quick and take a look. PC health check. Well, I've already installed that, so I shouldn't need it again. It's probably in here somewhere. There it is. Okay, let's see here. Let's hit check. There it goes. We're all set. So, support secure boot, TPM 2.0, processor is supported. There's at least 4 gig in the system. So, we're good. So that's it. So if I want to put Windows 11 on this, I can. I don't know that I'm in a big hurry to do it, mind you, but I guess I could. So there we go. We are set. We are done. Let me turn this off here for the moment. There we go. Okay, so we're all squared away. All right. Good to go. Okay, so that's it. Basically, for that part of the stream. I guess the next part is you can ask me questions if you like. I can muse on some of the latest hardware that's out there, both Intel and AMD. I can tell you that from my personal perspective, I'm not in a hurry to do either one. Most of everything that I have is working. It's perfectly fine. And I'm certainly in no hurry to go to the new AM5 platform. For those of you who are still on AM4 sockets, like this particular system here, and you've got a much older CPU, let's say for the sake of argument, you're running a 1000 series, a 2000 series CPU, BIOS update, you can put in a 5000 series, and you're good to go probably for at least another 5 years, and you won't have to make a decision on that one. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Let's see. What's this here? Ryzen 7 3700X or Ryzen 5 5600. Well, you're going to lose some core counts going from the 7 to the 5. But honestly, It depends. If you can swallow the price tag, it's going to depend on the board too. Keep in mind, some people will say, well, why did you put a 5000 series Ryzen on a 450 board? There's no PCI 4.0 on that. Well, here's the deal. The Ryzen 5000 series with graphics built in, the 5600 and the 5700G, they don't support PCI 4.0. They only support 3.0, so it's a perfect upgrade for this. The board doesn't do PCI 4.0, and neither does the CPU, so it's perfect. If you're looking for a little more horsepower, let's see. It seems your power requirements, CPUs, GPUs are just too outrageous. Well, they certainly are for the Intel. The other problem that you're running into, at least from what I've seen, is you've got a lot of people trying to keep that 13900K cool, and they're having a hard time doing it even with AIOs. So I don't know. Yes, you can undervolt, you can do all this other stuff, but I don't know. You're screwing around. You're basically doing tweaks that the quote unquote normal people don't normally deal with. So I mean, I'm not sure about that. But yeah, if you can stomach, let's see, if you can stomach the money, I forget what is it, the 5800, the 5800X right now, I think is under 300. It might be around 250. I haven't looked recently, but that's definitely a viable option, especially if you're on 400 series AM4 board. You'll certainly get a good boost from that one. I'm still waiting to see if AMD is going to come out with anything lower tier. So far, the lowest tier they have is the 7600X. That's $300. So let's see. Bronc, I have a 2200G on a Gigabyte AB350. AB boards, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. If it was a standard B350, I would say you can probably do it. You'd have to check with the board manufacturer. Go look. Whoever is manufactured your board. It says, what is this? Gigabyte. Okay. I would look on Gigabyte's website and look at the BIOSes that are available for that board. If there is no mention of any of those BIOSes for the Ryzen 5000 series, then my answer is going to be no, it's not going to work for you. Now, it depends on how you want to approach that. You could go to the 7000 series, but yeah, it's very expensive. The other thing you might want to look at, honestly, I would look around for a B450 board. They're still relatively cheap. You can get reasonable B450 boards for 100, 120, 150. Now, if you take one of those, put a 5000 series on that, then yeah, you're good. And you can, I mean, I don't know, it depends on which processor you want to put on it. You've got the 5600. You got 5600X. You have these are the ones without GPUs in them. You've got the 5500. You could look at the 5500. I think that's pretty much a bargain. Nearly all of the Ryzen 5000 series, the prices have been dropping on those like a stone. CPU, I would look in that direction. Again, check Gigabyte's website for that particular board. I think I actually looked. I may have looked at that at some point. Somebody else mentioned an AB350. And out of curiosity, I think I went looking. I don't remember if it was Gigabyte or not, but I did go looking, and I could not find a BIOS for that board that even mentioned Ryzen 5000. So you could be out of luck on that one. But if you pick up maybe a Ryzen 5500 and a B450 board for maybe $125, I don't see that as being a bad combination at all. So what is a good free CPU monitoring software? I think the AMD Ryzen Master is probably overkill. Honestly, I use what is it? HW Monitor. I use that. As a matter of fact, I think I have that on. Make sure you download the latest version. Let me pull this up real quick. And let me put this back on here real quick. Okay, there we go. 1 second. All right. So I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I have, this is probably not the latest version, but HW Monitor, just do a Google search for HW Monitor. Yeah, see, there's an update for it. So I'm not running the latest version, but this will give you all kinds of information. System memory usage, what the CPU fan's running at, which I probably should adjust that fan curve because that's running more than it should. So I'll go back into the BIOS and adjust the fan curve. But this has all the temp stuff that you want. It'll do, if you have a discrete graphics card, you can put that in there too. That'll show up temperatures and fan speeds. It's a very simple program. It's free. I've used it for a number of years. I've got no complaints about it. So that's my suggestion as far as that's concerned. Core temp. Oh, on the 5600? Well, let's go look at that again. Hang on. Let me go look at that again. I didn't pay that close attention to it. Let's go see. Let's go back up here. Okay, there's the cores there, and you can actually expand this down if you want. There's all the cores right there. Same thing with power. You can expand this to see what power each core is drawing. Processor utilization, again, if you expand this out, there's all the cores and threads. So everything's there. I think that you could possibly want out of it, and you don't have to spend any kind of real money on it. So that's my thoughts on that one. Let's see, anything else, you guys? Because this stream wasn't going to be all that long. I was hoping it was going to get it in under an hour, and I did. If I had remembered to actually hit the freaking go live button, my apologies, but I screwed up. I screwed up. I was sitting here talking and talking and talking, and then I just like, somebody made a comment about waiting for the stream, and I'm like, oh, damn. So I'm an idiot. Oh, God. Anyway. Unbelievable. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, see that, getting back to the 2200G on an AB350, that's a tough one. But yeah, you're going to have to check and see if there's a BIOS update for it. And again, there may be BIOS updates for it. My red flag would be that if the BIOS update in question, or if any of the BIOS updates in question don't address Ryzen 5000 series, my inkling is going to be that it's not going to work. But hey, you never know. The worst that'll happen is that you can update to the latest BIOS. You can try to stick the 5000 in it. It'll either come up or it won't. And at that point, basically, you put back the 2200G. If the system comes back up, then there it is. That's basically the end of the story. But if you get stuck and, you know, if you buy the CPU from Amazon, you can always return it if you want to. Or in my way of thinking, um, depending on which of the 5000 series you get, if it's going to be the 5600G in particular, look for a B450 board. They're still out there. They're very affordable. In some cases, if you're looking for a micro ATX board, it's $100 and sometimes less. And it doesn't take a lot to run a 5600G. It would be a different subject if you were trying to run 3900 or something like that. That would be a whole different ballgame. I have a real problem with these guys who build these micro ATX things and put i9s and Ryzen 9s and even i7s and Ryzen 7s on those boards. They're too small. There's not enough real estate, in my opinion. The VRMs are usually not able to handle, they're certainly not going to probably handle very well an i9 or a Ryzen 9. You might be able to get away with the Ryzen 7s and the i7s, and even then I think you're stressing the hell out of the VRMs, unless they've got a hell of a lot of heatsink and cooling on them. But yeah, you want to get off the 2200G at this point, because anything you get is going to be a crap load faster. It's just going to be. While I'm thinking about that, come to think of it, let me pull this back up here. And what I want to do is I'm only going to run one benchmark on Shadow of the Tomb Raider to see how much of an improvement there's been. So let me close this. Let me close this. Let's run Shadow of the Tomb Raider benchmark. I'm not going to change any of the graphic settings. I'm going to leave them exactly the way they were. But I'm curious to see what kind of an improvement we have, because that's the toughest one to run of all of them. So let's do that. The others I'm not worried about. The others they're probably perfectly fine. So let's go into options, display and graphics. So you can see we're at 1080. If you want to look at the graphics quality, we are on low. So none of that's changed. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to run the benchmark and let's see what we get. In the meantime, if you guys got more questions, I'll certainly take them. But I'm curious to see what kind of result we get now. Because if I've got an improvement on this one, the others are a piece of cake. Okay, 1 second. Let me go into, hang on a second, guys. Okay, all right. Let me go take a look. Probably not much of an improvement, unfortunately. It doesn't look like it. So, yeah, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is tough to run. It just is. So, no, we really didn't get much out of this one. The others, yeah, we'll probably get some noticeable improvement on it. But yeah, that's still 20 FPS. That's you definitely need a discrete GPU for this particular game. This one's not easy. What I am curious about while I'm thinking of it. 1 second, I want to do. Come on, where are you? I'm losing my mouse pointer. There's my mouse pointer. Now, it's entirely possible that this thing's going to crash and burn when I do this, but all right, let's MSI down. Let's see what happens here. But I'm curious to see if I can get it, if it'll come up. There it goes. Okay. Well, the frame time is at least consistent, although it is quite high, which doesn't surprise me. Oh, I see what's going on. It reset the memory. I'm looking at the memory clock on the internal GPU. It set it back to 2400. So I got to go in and change that. So I got to remember to do that. I forgot. BIOS resets everything. BIOS update resets everything. Well, that's not. Yeah, that's. Yeah. But yeah, discrete GPU for this one for sure. But that wasn't really that wasn't necessarily the point of the exercise. The point of the exercise was to replace the CPU so that if at some point I wind up going to Windows 11, at least I can, and this machine's probably good for at least another 5 years. I originally put it together in 2019, so it's been it's been 3 years. So if I add another 5, that's 8. So by that time, then yeah, it'll probably have to be replaced with something much newer. But it was a relatively cheap upgrade. I think I bought the CPU a week or two ago. It was about 150. It's even less now. I think it's under 120 at the moment on Amazon. So this is a cheap upgrade. It just, if you're running even if you're running a Ryzen 3 3200G, this is an upgrade. No question about it. So yeah, see, the CPU certainly can render it. It's the internal GPU that's obviously struggling. So that's the deal with that one. Okay, let me look through chat here and see what we got. Are there any graphics benchmarks that show OpenGL performance? Honestly, I don't know. Yeah, I honestly don't know. And there seemed to be an improvement. Yeah, CPU usage was probably nowhere near what it was for the 2200G. So, yeah, okay. Yeah, I know it's an improvement. The first thing is 2200G is a 4-core, 4-thread CPU. That's it. The 5600G is a 6-core, 12-thread CPU. So I don't expect it to work as hard. And so that's there. All right, so let me go back into here, and 1 second here. Go back into here real quick. And I'm going to restart and get that memory speed back up because I forgot that it reset it. So let me go back in. Not that I expect this to make it much of a difference, because it's not going to. I know what the GPU clock is going to run at. Yep, forgot it. Mess it up again. I can't seem to catch it on the right spot for some reason. I don't understand why. I always have to seem to do it a second time. That's weird. All right, let's see if we can get in there this time. No, this keyboard must be, the battery on this keyboard must be dying. All right, well, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Alrighty, advanced startup. Mouse is still working, but the keyboard's battery must be dying, which is not entirely impossible because I probably need to recharge it anyway. Alrighty, let's see, advanced options, UEFI CERN, there we go, boom, hit that, have a nice day. More than one way to skin a cat. There we go. Now let's see, let's go in here and double check here. Let's see, tweaker, DRAM information, DDR4 2666. That much I do know. There we go. Okay, so we're set. All right, that's the end of that story, ladies and gentlemen. All right, anything else? Yeah, sorry about that, Kenny. Yeah, you're right. I should have set the fan speeds. It doesn't matter. I'll get to it. It's not a big deal. I'm looking at chat here, so just give me a second. Many of us use computers without graphics card. Yeah, a lot of people do. They do fine, but when turning on something pertaining to gaming, things get a little stressful. Yeah, they do. And, well, again, a lot of that's going to depend on what games you're playing. Now, my wife likes to download and play games from an outfit called Big Fish. Those games are not terribly demanding. She's running those on a Ryzen 5 3400G, I believe, at the moment. They're not very terribly demanding. And she was running on a 2200G, and I doubt very much that she noticed a hell of a lot of difference. But those games are not, they're not like Doom Eternal. They're not like World of Warships. I mean, they're not terribly bad games, but they just don't have the graphics intensity. I'm just waiting to see if there's anything else that I need to address. If you're looking to, if you've got to build an office PC and you want to do it cheaply, Intel's pretty much your only go-to. Yeah, Big Fish Games, look it up. If you're looking to build cheap office PCs, you're kind of, Intel is where you're going to have to go, because there's nothing in the Ryzen line that's on the low end. Not, at least not in the 7000 series, there isn't. And actually kind of like not really in the 5000 series, unless you catch in a sale on either the 5600G or the 5700G. 5700G, I think the last price I saw on that one was a few days ago. I want to say it was under 2, I'm pretty sure. So if you wanted slightly more performance than the 5600, 5700G would be an option. But there's nothing. Ryzen's, at least as far as I can tell, unless something changes and they just release something further down the line, there's nothing in the AMD line right now, as far as CPU chips are concerned, that's low end. There isn't. Intel's pretty much got that wrapped up. So if you're, an i3, believe it or not, an i3 1100 or 1200, believe it or not, 12100, excuse me, 11, yeah. Even, those chips are pretty cheap. They just are. And You're looking for cheap builds. If you're looking for to put a system together that all it does is office work and web, YouTube, email, that sort of thing, and you're looking to put something together for parents, grandparents, or something like that to give them something, you're probably an Intel i3 of some ilk, 16 gig of memory on a pretty cheap motherboard, probably under $100, and you can do it. It's not that difficult at all. Chris Garrett, hello, sir. Rick Lakes, hello. Let's see what else. Well, I think that's more or less it. Those of you who've seen some of my past videos, you'll notice that the setup is a little different. I'd be curious to know if anybody has a comment one way or the other about the new desk and whatnot. I'm trying something different to probably try and give this place a little bit of a different look. So, other than that, I think we're pretty much done. So, my apologies for earlier. I was stupid enough not to remember to hit the go live button. So, I spent the first 11 minutes yakking to myself. So, that's obviously not good. Let me go back into here. And like I said, I don't know that that's going to make a whole lot of difference, to be quite honest, but now let's go take a look at this one here. Now, World of Warships, I was looking at low 40s to like mid 50s for frame rate. And I think this one's probably okay. This should be improved. And let me pull up MSI Afterburner again. And at some point it should kick in up here. It takes a little bit. There it goes. Yeah, not a lot. Okay, CPU. Okay. GPU, yeah, not no obvious improvement here. I'm not going to bother to try and play a battle because that's going to take a little while to do. So I'll address that later. So anyway, if nobody has anything else, or if I missed something, yeah, Richard, the room here is essentially 19 by 19. So yeah, there's quite a bit of room here. And there's another bench you guys can't see that's sitting in front of me. That runs almost the entire, well, it does. It literally runs the entire length of the room. So yeah, there's quite a bit of room in here, fortunately. All right. Okay, guys. Well, it looks like I think we're about there. I run roughly about an hour. Would have been more if I had managed to keep my head out of my ass, but obviously that's not going to be an issue. One last round. I'll wait for anything that you guys may have questions on, and then I think I'm going to pull the plug here. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything else going on. So I'd like to give a big shout out to oh, golfing. Golfing just ended. Oh, okay, Ken. Now you show up. All right, that's okay. No, I understand. I understand. Uh, yes, MSI Afterburner will run on a system that does not have a discrete graphics card. Absolutely, without question. I'd like to give a big shout out to Tony Wallow. He's been contributing to the channel. He's part of the reason why I'm able to do this upgrade. I've also got a few cables I need to invest in because the DisplayPort cable that the monitor's plugged into just barely reaches. Because the monitor is wall mounted in front of me. So I put in an order for that. A new cable. I've also got a lapel microphone that I'm going to try out, see how that works out. But Tony's been a big help. He's definitely been a big help to the channel. And, you know, if I can manage to get a hold of some additional financial support, hopefully I can do more things. For those of you who don't know, I live in Delaware. So if anybody close to here has anything that they want to reach out with me on, if you go to my main channel page and you go to the About tab, my email is there. I'd like to do some repairs and record those, but they're few and far between. If you're in the Philly metro, Wilmington, Delaware kind of area, and you got something you want me to take a whack at, I'll be more than happy to. And as long as you're comfortable with me at least filming part of the process. I mean, I'm not going to be divulging any personal information or that kind of thing, but if you've got something that you want me to take a whack at, I'll be more than happy to. Let's see here. Let's see what else. Okay. A bunch of stuff going on between folks. Yeah, Ken, I was wondering where you were at. I was kind of wondering where you were, but now I should have realized that. It should have dawned on me sooner what was going on. Hang on a second. Okay, I'm looking at the stream on another machine just to see if everything's okay. All right. Okay, guys, I guess that's going to be it. Thank you all for showing up. And hopefully down the road I'll have something more for you. It's probably going to be pre-recorded. Apparently, it's been so long since I've done a live stream, I've managed to basically screw the pooch on this one. Oh man, I'm not going to live. I'm never going to live that down. Talking to myself for 10 minutes without realizing that the stream wasn't live. That's just unbelievable. Okay, anyway, let's see, what do we got? We got 18, 20 people watching. Interesting. 11 likes. That's not bad. I can deal with that, considering I'm a very, very small fry in this deal. So, yeah. Okay. All right. That's what we got here. Well, it's not bad to ask an audience everything is working correctly. Sometimes even sound levels. Okay. Right. Kenny, any more Linux stuff in the future? I've not put a lot of effort into it. I've not gotten a whole lot of feedback on it. I mean, I've gotten bits and pieces here, but no, unfortunately, no. If there is anything, it might be It might be like maybe something like installing OBS on Linux. Um, I'm trying to think of things. I mean, I don't play with Linux enough. It's certainly not my daily driver by any stretch of the imagination. I know enough about it that I can install it. I know enough about it that I can install it in a dual boot system configuration. I can navigate my way around it, but I don't have a lot of demands on my systems in general. Let's see. Yes, Richard, I am more or less speaking in a normal voice. Yeah. The microphone is a Samsung C01U Pro USB microphone. I do have a wireless transmitter that I can hook into the system, and I've tried it with the microphones it came with, and only the little boom set that comes with it sounds reasonable. The other microphones sound like crap. But I am looking at a particular lapel microphone that plugs into that, and hopefully I'll get better sound out of it. And I won't necessarily have to be tethered to the bench. I'll be able to walk around a little bit, which I would prefer. But yeah, yeah, my voice is not being raised, and the microphone's foot and a half away from me. It's not that far away, so yeah, it works out well. Yeah, I'm very pleased with it. I am very pleased with it. When I had this whole setup um, sitting on the bench that's up against the wall, um, I had it kind of like on a boom type of thing, and about maybe 2 feet away from me, and it was similarly well done. So yeah, I'm very pleased with it. Um, if you don't if you don't have a streaming microphone yet, this is one of the ones you probably are going to be very happy with. But yeah, Kenny, getting back to the Linux question, I'm not sure where to go from here. I mean, you could explore Office applications, LibreOffice, and go through um, some of the functions of that, but that'd be completely unfamiliar territory to me. I don't use an Office application at all. I don't do anything with Microsoft Office either. Word, Excel. I've never used either of those. So I have no experience with that. Um, I mean, that's about it. I mean, if there's any interest, I could probably do a video on how to set up your own NAS using the software that I am using right now, which is Sigma NAS. I could do that possibly. That's a possible video I could do. But like I said, what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to get stuff in here for repair, which unfortunately doesn't happen often enough. I had to do a repair on my nephew's older MacBook, and the repair took a whole 10 minutes. It's not much of a video. It just isn't. That's not enough. Um, I mean, I opened up the bottom of it. I saw that apparently he told me that there had been some liquid spilled underneath it, and sure enough, I opened up the cover, and yeah, I saw some corrosion around, where the water had been. And honestly, the only thing I did with it is I took an older, worn out toothbrush and some rubbing alcohol, or isopropyl alcohol, excuse me, um, and scrubbed off the corrosion. Damn thing came right back. Like I said, it was 10 minutes. It's not much of a video. It's not that terribly interesting. At least to me, it wasn't. So I didn't bother to post it. Yeah, Kenny. Yeah, you love MacBooks. Yeah. Look, I've worked on the stuff. I have, but it's certainly not my favorite thing. They're a pain in the ass. They just are. And Apple makes it that way on purpose because they want you to buy a new one. They just do. I mean, it's not a whole lot different with HP, Dell, any of the major OEM manufacturers of PC hardware. I mean, I don't know for sure because I never bothered to explore it, but if you had like an older HP that runs on an AM4 socket, I don't think that either HP or Dell, for that matter, provide you with a BIOS that will let you upgrade the chip because that's not in their interest. They want you to buy a new machine. That's really no different than Apple. I mean, I've never seen, I mean, I'd love for somebody to give me a link, send it to me in email, where there's a BIOS update to maybe say a 4-year-old HP or a 4-year-old Dell that has a BIOS that says, oh yeah, by the way, if you want to, you can swap in a Ryzen 5000 chip. Never seen it. Be interesting. Yeah. Seldom, yeah. Unfortunately, Craigslist or Facebook is kind of the bottom of the barrel, and most of those people don't really want to pay. They just don't. They're looking for the cheapest way to get something done, and no, they'll nickel and dime you to death. They absolutely will. Yeah, Chris, I know that yeah, I'm sure the XPS gets BIOS updates, but are any of those, well, first of all, that's an XP, that's a laptop. I'm talking about desktops. Laptops, you don't replace the CPUs in those. They're nearly always soldered in. So you don't replace those in the first place. I'm referring to desktops when I'm talking about this. HP, Dell desktops. Find me an HP or Dell desktop that has a BIOS update that will allow you to put in a newer CPU. I don't think you're going to find it. I really don't. Throat's getting a little dry. Desktop XPS. Okay. But, well, let's see. Is it running an Intel or an AMD CPU? That's the first question I have. Oh, and which particular CPU is it running? That would also be helpful to know. But I don't think you're going to find like well, like I said, take an HP or Dell, I don't know, from 2017 maybe, that's running on an AMD AM4 socket. And I don't think you're going to find, I could be wrong. I'll be happy to be wrong. And if you find it, let me know. Send it to me in email. I'll be happy to be wrong. But I've never seen it. I mean, if you bought an HP, and let's just say for the sake of argument, 2017, and it happened to be running on a Ryzen 2200G. Intel all computers, ninth, yeah. i9. Ninth i7. A ninth gen i7 would be like a 10700. Okay. But getting back to my original thought, pick a Dell or an HP or Lenovo or whoever, desktop machine that has a socketed CPU in it. Go to the support website and see if you can find a BIOS update that will allow you to take out, let's say, a 2000 series Ryzen CPU and put in a 5000 series. I don't think you're going to find it. All right, anything else, folks? Says that's a ninth generation 97. Oh, 9700. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. My apologies. Yeah, 90 i7 9700. Yeah. Um, yeah, well, an i9 is assuming it's a socket, which I would make a pretty good assumption. Yeah, you could upgrade to that. See, this is one of the things that I think AMD did right. They had the AM4 socket for 5 years now. I want to say 5 years, maybe more. They had the AM4 socket for 5 years. Intel, in that same time frame, how many socket changes have they gone through? I think at least three. So you had the ninth generation, which is what you're running on. But if you want to run a 10th generation or 11th generation, new socket. You want to run 12th or 13th, new socket. So that's a bit of a pain. I think AMD did a smart thing. They kept the same socket for quite a number of years, and they were able to improve their CPUs without having to change the socket. So you could literally take a B350 motherboard that's running a 1700X, update the BIOS, and pop in a 5700 or 5800X. And all you had to do was change the CPU. That's all the money you spent because everything else in the system still works. And also the AM4 platform, yes, it's been quote unquote discontinued, but honestly, if you got a really, really old system, if you're running off of, let's say for the sake of argument, you're running off of a fourth, fifth, sixth generation Intel, and you don't want to spend a lot of money to get something newer that will definitely blow the doors off of it, I would look at a B450, B550 board, depending on which CPU you want to put in. Those prices are cheap. They're damn cheap. You're not going to see anything like it. I mean, let's see. I think the 5600X, I'm not sure, but I want to say it's definitely under 2. So you can build yourself something really, really cheap these days, and it will blow away. I don't care what anybody else says. Fourth, fifth, sixth generation Intel? No. Ryzen, even a Ryzen 5600G with a discrete graphics card, because just because this has internal graphics doesn't mean you can't plug in a discrete GPU. You certainly can. And if you have a discrete GPU already in your system and you're running on like a 1700X, spend, I want to say $120 was what I saw the 5600G on for today. Might be even a little bit less. Swap it out. You've just gotten yourself more performance for dirt cheap. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else. See, my problem is that I live for the hardware. The software doesn't interest me necessarily, but I live for the hardware. I've been doing it too long. Been doing it way too long, since 1985. I'm old. I'm 62 years old. I've been at this for a while. So I live for the hardware. Original PC XT clone. I skipped over the 286. By the time I was ready to replace the XT clone, the 386s were out. The 486 came along. you had the AMD Athlons, you had the Intels, you had the Core 2 Duos, you had the... it's so hard for me to even remember half the stuff I've seen. So I've been at it a long, long time. Hardware is nothing to me. I don't know that I necessarily could, but I could probably put together a machine almost blindfolded at this point. That's how long I've been doing it. And if you want to email me and want me to consult on putting something together, I'll be happy to do that too. If you go to PC Part Picker, you can lay out all the stuff that you want to do. If you've got a budget in mind, especially if you're budget conscious and you want to put together a gaming system, graphics cards that are a real bargain right now. Probably most of it's going to be on the used market, eBay, so forth. So if you're looking for GTX series or RTX series, GTX 1660s, 1660 Supers, they can be had for around $100, probably not much more than that. And it's adequate. I mean, it's not going to light the world on fire, but it's adequate, especially if you're doing 1080p. You want something a little more modern, an RX 6600 or an RX 6600 XT. The 6600s, I think, are under 2.5 at this point. The XTs might be a little bit more, but 250, let's say 250 for a 6600. You buy Ryzen 5500, which has no graphics built into it. 5500s are cheap. You put all that on a B550 board, which will probably cost you, well, definitely cost you under 2, depending on which board it is that you get. The fancier boards obviously are going to be more, but $125, $175. Yeah, I mean, the older Ryzen stuff is the bargain. It absolutely is. Now in 6 months, we'll see what happens with the 7000 series. I suspect that in roughly about 6 months, you're going to start seeing price reductions, if you haven't already, because Intel kind of came out swinging with the 13th gen. In several instances, the 13th gen is definitely beats Ryzen on several levels, and then there's others where Ryzen beats them. But they came out, the Intel stuff came out at almost about the same price point as the 7000 series. So AMD's going to have to probably make some price adjustments. How soon that's going to happen, I don't know. But we'll have to see. Jeez, I'm doing a Kerry Holzman here, for Christ's sake. Unbelievable. Okay, looks like things have died down in chat. So I think that's going to be it, guys. Yeah, it's been not quite an hour and a half, but yeah, I probably should get out of here at this point. Anyway, not sure when I'll have something. I'll try to get something together. I average a video maybe once a month, maybe even less than that occasionally, but I try to come up with something that's reasonably entertaining. All right. All right, guys. I will see you down the road, and who knows what I'll come up with next. Again, send me an email. Oh, by the way, I do now have access to making community posts, so I'm going to try and experiment with those, see if that lights up anything. But yeah, again, go to the main page of my channel, go to the About tab. My email address is in there. And, you know, if you've got something in particular you want me to look at, again, if you're in the local area, I'm not going to do things where people send me stuff from halfway across the country. I'm not doing any of that crap. But if you're local, maybe we can work something out where I can film the repair, or at least attempted repair. It depends on how it's going to go. Maybe do that. I'd like to do that more than anything else, quite frankly. Anyway, thanks to you all for coming by, and I'll hopefully see you down the road. Again, Tony, I appreciate all the support you've been giving me. Some of this stuff is not possible without you, and I really, really do appreciate it. Everybody, we'll catch you guys later, and hopefully I'll have something at least mildly entertaining for you the next time. Have a good evening. Good night.